We have some major news breaks right now. We're talking 314. We're talking 315. We're talking London. We're talking this weekend in Seattle. Too much. Let's get into the scoops. Grab your coffee or your tea. It's kind of a fancy mug. There are at least 8 headlines that came out just last night. So, where do we start? Okay, UFC 314, we've got news. So we were all like on the edge of our seats wondering when the hell they were going to tell us what is going on here since it is literally right around the corner. It's right around the corner, especially if you haven't started a fight camp. But okay, so Miami, lots to discuss. Hello? Hello, title vacated? I personally don't love this development. It's not that I'm entirely opposed to seeing Topuria versus Makhachev, but it's just that I felt there was a lot more to do in the featherweight division. But if you ask Dana White, he's fine with it, and they cite weight issues. In short, is that the vibe? Is this the vibe? Because okay, if you ask me, this is not the vibe. If you ask me, as one of the fight fans react to, okay, as one of them, I'm not loving this. I wanted to see more featherweight action. I wanted to see the rematch with Volk. It's just crazy. So that's the first implication of 314. Obviously, with Volk being booked against Lopez, you're like, okay, and it's for the vacant. So we're vacating. He doesn't plan to try. See that? I guess that's, you know what? I guess that's the upside. At least Ilia doesn't plan to try and balance 2 belts at once and keep the entire featherweight division just waiting for him. Okay, that's good. If you ask Dustin Poirier, though, he does not like Islam's chances at middleweight, nor does he like Ilia's chances at lightweight. Little quote from Dustin. He thinks that Makhachev, in quotes, would do really well at 170, 185. The guys are too big. Yeah, that's a little sort of related. In terms of what Dana White had to say, it was Topuria has felt like he's done all he can in the division and he feels like he's cemented his legacy and his body cannot make the weight anymore. So that's what Dana White said on his little Instagram live. So, I guess that means we're done. We're done with 145. More of the UFC 314 stuff. I guess Paddy is never going to fight anyone his own age. I do think, though, that this will be very exciting. I really believe in Michael Chandler to bring the fireworks as he always is doing. Michael Chandler is such an explosive little cutie. I think it's going to be really cool. I'm excited to see how Paddy Pimblett deals with this kind of chaos and, another over 35er for Paddy to get his hands on. That is also in the confirmation for UFC 314. This is new stuff. You can see this headline talking about Michael Chandler. He explains, because the truth is that he got this call recently and he was saying, April is 8 weeks away. He likes to put in a little more time for a training camp. But his quote is that next day he flew to Vegas, sat down with Hunter, Hunter Campbell, in his office, talked everything through, and we made the decision we're fighting Paddy Pimblett in Miami because an imperfect plan implemented now is better than a perfect plan implemented months from now. See, you know what? If you ask me, that's how you know they've been mistreating Mr. Chandler. They have been taking him for granted. That he's just so, yeah. He's willing to say that, oh, I'll take whatever they give me, basically. More new stuff. We got double. Okay, so R.I.P. Bellator. But I guess it's to our benefit. Hello, Pitbull. Welcome back, baby. Going against Yair Rodriguez. Okay, also on the same card. This is stacking up. Like, we are stacking. And it's great. I'm loving it. Loving it. Are you excited about this? Of course you are. More 314. How about Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates? Let's go. Jeff is trying to extend his recent win into a win streak. I love to see that, and I'm a big fan of Prates. I feel like he is on everybody's list for up-and-comers. Really looking forward to that. Are you kidding me? Could it be more? I mean, Miami, right? This is stacked. This is stacked to hell. Or stacked to heaven. That's more appropriate. So that's the big UFC 314. Oh my gosh. in summary, we have Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez for the vacant title. We have Chandler versus Pimlet. We have Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull at featherweight. Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates welterweight. Virna Jandiroba, Yan Xiaonan. We already knew about this. Dan Ige, Sean Woodson. I believe that was also announced. Everything else is stuff we knew. But oh my word. Crazy announcements. Crazy UFC 14 announcements. I am so excited. I knew if they were kept keeping us in the dark, that they had some things going on. 315, we have so much. We have see, the thing is that 315 and London are wrapped into one in terms of the news and the implications that they have for each other. So UFC 315, we have Belal versus Jack Della Mandela. Okay, the thing is, if you see that, you might be thinking, huh? Yeah. Valentina Shevchenko versus Manon Fior. That one gets a lot of claps and snaps for me. Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales. Oh my word. So that was supposed to be on 314, and they're moving that up to 315, doing a little switcheroo. And London, we're changing it. We're going Edwards versus Brady. Okay, so what's with that, right? So here is a preview now of the 315 full card as we know it. We have Belal versus JDM. Let's go. Title weight fight. Valentina versus Manon. We got 2 championship fights on this 315 card. We also have former champion Alexa Grasso going against up-and-comer Natalia Silva. That's new news. Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales has been bumped up here. We have Brad Katona versus Beksat Almacan. Let's go bantamweight madness. We have Haley Cohen, Nora Cornole, bantamweight madness again. We have Marc-Andre Barrelt versus Bruno Silva. First, let's give some freaking claps. Let's give some snaps. We finally get, I say we because I'm hoping that you're in this camp with me, we finally get Manon Fior is going to get her shot at the title against Valentina Shevchenko. This has been a long time coming. She really deserves this. I feel like we're in store for some fireworks, and that was a major announcement that we got. Let's go down this list. So, former champion, that would be Alexa Grasso, versus someone who you might not know completely yet. I hope you do. We have Natalia Silva. She has been doing some important things lately. So she's on a 12-fight win streak. She's young. She's coming up, 1997 birthday. She beat Andrade in her last fight and earned a Fight of the Night performance for that in September. And she fought Vivian Arujo as well on Silva's birthday, on her own birthday. She is on the come up. Taekwondo. This is a Taekwondo versus boxing. You heard? Yeah. We have boxing on Grasso's side and Taekwondo on Silva. It's going to be a clash of striking. I mean, she defeated Jasmine Jasudavicius in her debut. Does it get more hype than that? Yeah, okay. Does it get more hype than that? See that little weirdo dancing in the corner? That's me. Yeah, that's how I feel about all this. Genuinely, such great news. You were thinking to yourself when, if you didn't know, when I was listing the fights that are coming, you're like, what is going on? I really didn't think that JDM was supposed to be there, and you are correct. Okay? So, title shot was supposed to be Belal versus Shavkat, but it's off again, okay? Due to injury, Mr. Nomad, hoping to come back in May. And so taking his place is JDM. This is crazy. So, same news, but on the flip side, no Shavkat, boo-boo, Belal Muhammad, JDM. Yeah, Montreal. And let's get excited for a switcheroo. And in general, what does that mean? Well, Leon Edwards is still going to be headlining, obviously in London. We wouldn't want to take him away. That makes no sense. And yeah, that's where we're at. And he's going to be facing Sean Brady. So we want to keep Leon Edwards in the headline, right? Of course, for UFC London. If we're going to snatch anybody, it's got to be Jack. And so who's the new opponent? We have Sean Brady, right? And so the lineup for UFC London right now is we have Edwards versus Brady. We have Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Ulberg. Hello. I'm so excited for that. If you don't know, Jan Blachowicz is on my top 3 favorite fighters ever. Love him so much. Kevin Holland versus Gunnar Nelson. Interesting. Mick Parkin versus Marcin Tybura. Shauna Bannon versus Pua Tamar. Christian Leroy Duncan versus Andre Polyav, Molly McCann, local, Estela Nunes, Morgan Charrier versus Nathaniel Wood, Nathan Fletcher versus Colin Logren, Felipe Dos Anjos versus Loner Kavanaugh, Jai Herbert, hello, versus Chris Padilla, Chris Duncan versus Jordan Vusnik. Lots happening. Switcheroo. So, little switcheroo. And more. We had a very lovely, successful media day, and we had some takeaways. We have some UFC Seattle takeaways. So, first, UFC debuter, Julius Walker. I was really curious what this nickname meant, and we got our answer. Apparently, when he was playing basketball back in the day as a little youngster, his coach said that he looked like OJ. Yeah. And, kind of how telephone works, it sort of evolved into juice box, juice barrel, juice bucket, juice gallon, apparently. And I guess juice box is the most marketable. I agree. I do agree that juice box is the one that gives me the clearest picture. Anyway, that's kind of an anticlimactic story. I also don't love it. I don't really love the answer that I got. That it's OJ. No. Brendan Allen has been getting a lot of smack, a lot of shit lately. And I'm wondering, where is this hate coming from? I mean, he was a little sassy in these remarks, but I don't think it was that crazy of a thing to say. So, being that it's middleweight madness and he is a, top middleweight contender, people are asking him what he thinks about Sean's performance against DDP in the last fight. A lot of people think it was a bit of a stinker. And his quote here is, if you look at his resume, being DDP, on paper, you're like, bleep, man, this guy's a stud. But if you really look at it and you watch the fights, he fights these guys that have such a great name, but look at the time that he fights them. He's fighting them when they're kind of not really motivated, or they're on their way out, or just Father Time is getting them, whatever the case may be. I don't really think that's that crazy of a thing to say, but I think a lot of people were like, oh, you lost recently, you can't have opinions on someone else's performance. I don't know. But yeah, that was some media day. What else we got? Okay. Short notice announcement. If you did not know, Paige Van Zandt's husband, as I affectionately refer to him as, okay, Austin Rutherford, he is a former Bellator, RIP Bellator, has been signed to the UFC, and he's going to be making his debut on short notice on our fight night in Seattle. Yeah. So let's give some snaps. Like I'm going to keep saying this. We got to give snaps for people who come in short notice on our behalf to help save things for us. Okay, this is also related to the fight night, also related to UFC Seattle, obviously, because we were hoping to see Dominick Cruz's last go, but we don't, I guess we didn't know when his last go was going to be. It already happened. It was supposed to be Dominick Cruz's last go. He spoke a little bit more on his retirement on the Ariel Helwani podcast, a really nice, in-depth interview, and one of the quotes, for me, I'm not getting paid big enough dollars that's worth my arm. Maybe if I was making a few million, maybe that would change it. Because if you don't know, Dominick Cruz really messed his arm up, okay? This guy can not catch a break. He was saying that at the end of the day, when your arm starts turning blue and you can see that they're making sure my fingers are still working before they slide it back into place, it's like, okay, is fighting worth as much as my arm? Yeah, like the quote. So, yeah, I am a fan of this decision. I really think you should be prioritizing your health when things are that serious. It sounds horrible. Sounds like he was just waiting there with his arm dislocated for a while, and yeah, Cruz has done enough. He's won 7 major championship fights in his MMA career. He's defended his UFC and WEC bantamweight title, 5 occasions. He's done so much for us in terms of elevating the sport, garnering so much excitement with the rivalries he's developed along the way, okay, which is where this cute little headline comes from. Dominick Cruz shocked by message from ex-rival after emotional UFC retirement. That is the most drama headline. It's too funny. And who is he referring to? Of course. He's referring to, right, you can't even think, because it's like, wait, he hates a million people. Is it TJ Dillashaw? Is it Uriah Faber? Is it Cody Garbrandt? Well, okay. The big rivalry is Team Alpha Male in general. Obviously, it all started with Uriah Faber. But he was surprised about TJ Dillashaw reaching out to him because, TJ Dillashaw has had a fair share of shoulder issues himself. And he actually recommended a shoulder doctor to Dominator, and that is cute. So, nice. I like to see us move on. Let's rebuild bridges. Don't burn them. I almost just said, let's burn bridges. Let's not do that. What else? Just some other fun stuff, some little cute things that probably could have waited, but there was just so much, literally from yesterday alone. Let's just throw in some other fun stuff too, right? Why not? More Belal. We're back to Belal. Oh my gosh. And that's what he wants, right? He loves attention. He loves the spotlight. He loves saying mean things. And he was talking a lot of smack. So it's kind of a double time news. So might already know this. It's not exactly news that he's close friends with a lot of the whole Dagestani crew, right? He's in with the crew. Here you see in that photo, Habib walking behind Belal, we're the crew. And so he says that he would actually vacate his welterweight title before fighting Islam. That's very interesting to me. So he's like, here, you may have it. Here, you may have it, sir. You may fight. And then he said something rude because he can't help it. He cannot help himself. And he had to say that middleweight is the easiest weight class. Right. Middleweight. Right. That's the one. Right. That's the one I think of when okay, none of them are easy. Let's be real. I know he's just being cute, and that's what he does when he's thinking about being cute, but I don't like that. I don't think that's very nice, sir. So, little Belal drama. UFC Fight Night Des Moines, Iowa. Anyone? I'll be there. Yes. Last hurrah? ? We don't know this for sure, but Miesha Tate is coming back, and she's going against Yana Santos. That'll be really awesome. We don't have a lot of news on this fight night card yet, coming up in May, but what we do know is Marina Rodriguez versus Jillian Robertson, Trevor Peek versus Lee Zhang Yong, Cameron Smotherman versus Serhi City, Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Daniel Rodriguez. Oh my god. Okay. Can't wait to be there. Can't wait to see. I'm looking forward to what other fights are going to make their way onto this card. That's really is pretty around the corner as well. And some GFL. Senior hour. Okay, sorry. Alexander Gustafsson is not a senior. That's rude. But he is aware that he's not, as he says, 25 or 28 anymore. He's 38 years old. Not really worried about the damage you take in the fight. It's more the training camps you have. I've done many training camps, and in my career, the training camps leading up to the fight, you need to deliver on the highest level. It's a bit of pressure because you need to recover between sessions. There are many factors involved in the whole thing. That's why we made the decision. We also have the GFL contract on the table too. I have other offers. I feel like I'm not, okay, here's the big thing from the paragraph though. I feel like I'm not going to do this for a very long time, so let's make the best of it and squeeze out as much as possible. He's pretty humble as he's speaking about his GFL signing, kind of saying, I've got a couple more fights in me, but I know that I'm not competing at the highest level possible, which he once did. And there's a bit of I feel like there's no shame in that, and in fact there's a power to that kind of awareness. So Gustafsson is saying, you know what, I'm not quite done, but I'm pretty dang close. So what do you think about that? Okay, cute news. These silly little sillies. So Dan Hooker is just getting us all hyped up for the Justin Gaethje fight, right? And he posts a little throwback photo with Paul Felder, who we love, and the inevitable hospital visit that resulted from that, and he's saying there's going to be another one. And I like that. I like he's such a silly guy. Put the little blurb there that is from MMA Junkie, just reminding us that this is going to be a 5-round fight. I have a feeling that they made it 5 rounds just because they want to see somebody go down. They're like, let's make it impossible for anybody to not go out on the stretcher here. Here's Dan Hooker's quote. I've come to terms with that's how the night's going to end, baby. I've come to terms with that, brother. I've embraced that. So if someone is not ready to go into the lengths that I'm willing to go, then they're going to have a hard night. Obviously, Gaethje is ready to go, but yeah, memorable moment with him and Felder. I mean, that was a 5-round slugfest, so it's very appropriate. It's a very appropriate little recap. Look at how they look just so adorable there. And that was 5 years ago. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So Of course, Hooker's posting that photo as well because he won the split decision. You know what? That's just such a Dan Hooker highlight. For anybody who doubts Dan Hooker, go back and check out that fight versus Paul Felder, and then check out right after that when he threw down against Dustin Poirier. Okay? Talk about lightweight history. Yeah. So, that's just fun. I can't wait. Who is not excited about that? You gotta be crazy. Okay. I'm not necessarily saying this, but the collective population is going, boo, Dylan Dennis, right? People aren't really Dylan Dennis fans these days. Yeah. And so a lot of people are, I mean, again, the drama, the territorialism. People are like, why are you training with Dylan Dennis? I like this headline too from MMA Mania. The fans defect to Team Ankalaev. You know what? Ankalaev, I think, opened as the favorite, so it's not like this hasn't been a close thing this whole time, I feel like. But slacking? I want to know what y'all think. Is he slacking? Is that what this is? Hanging with Dylan Dennis? Does that equate? Steven, okay, another fun one. Steven is looking to get that Donald Cerrone fight. I'm loving this. I say book this now. I think that's really fun. And here's his quote. I thought it would be awesome if he doesn't want to cut weight to 155, maybe to make that fight at 170. I thought it would be really cool to have two veterans like that step back out there and face off against each other. But nothing's booked yet. That's just what I'm kind of shooting for. That April-May time. I'm a fan. What do y'all think? Are you into that? Last thing. It's senior hour, so trilogy time. GFL is coming out swinging, okay? Just have to throw this little cute one in there. So many breaking news announcements from last night alone. It's a lot to catch up with. Now we know. And if you know of the band Drain, let me know. And if you don't know, check them out.